Yes, go ahead.
On the UN vote in New York, do you think the world is today divided in two camps? Even if you're going to win the vote, but it's literally divided in two different camps.
Well, if you're talking about two camps, I think the two camps you might see are those countries that are standing on the side of the UN Charter, those countries that are standing on the side of international law, those countries that are standing on the side of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and those countries that are siding with Russia. And this vote has not taken place yet, so of course I wouldn't want to get ahead of it, but if past is any prologue, I would suspect you are going to see the vast majority, even the overwhelming majority, of countries standing with the UN Charter, standing with international law, standing with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the number of countries that are standing with Russia to be a small handful, to be this typical standard rogues gallery of countries that have sided with Russia in the recent UN General Assembly vote. So I'm not going to get ahead of it. We'll have numbers before too long, but we are confident that once again the world will stand with the UN Charter, and it's only appropriate that they do so as this vote is taking place in the UN General Assembly.
A year into this war, do you think the UN has served its purpose, which was created out of World War II, to stop and prevent wars to happen? Means UN has not been able to stop the war. Means there's only debates going on there at the New York.
Well, the UN was created in the wake of the last World War, not to be omnipotent, not to always be in a position to prevent conflict, but to be a forum where if countries acted according to international law, acted according to UN Charter, conflict could be prevented. The simple fact, however, is that in this case, Russia has consistently flouted the UN Charter. It's flouted international law. It's flouted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It's flouted the will of the international community as expressed now through multiple overwhelming votes in the UN General Assembly. So the UN has served an important purpose in providing countries around the world with a forum in which to express, in most cases, their abject condemnation of what Russia is doing, an opportunity for countries of the world to stand up for the UN Charter, an opportunity, on the other hand, for the world to see just how empty and vacuous what we're hearing from the Russian Federation and its very small rogues gallery of partners, just to see how empty their messages actually are. Tomorrow, in addition to what's taking place today, the UN will again serve as an important forum. The Secretary Blinken, will travel to New York City tonight so that he can be in place tomorrow morning to address the UN Security Council. He'll have an opportunity while there to tell the story of the last year and really to crystallize the stakes of this important, if not defining moment, to crystallize the stakes of what we've seen over the course of the last year, and to crystallize the stakes of what we'll see in the days, weeks, and months ahead. He'll, in some ways, tell the story of the last year, and in some ways that story begins in the very same place, because it was in the UN Security Council chamber just about a year ago, a little over a year ago now, when the Secretary laid out almost to a T what we expected to see of Russia as it amassed its forces on Ukraine's borders, as it told the world in no uncertain terms that it would not invade Ukraine, only to follow the script that the Secretary laid out in the UN Security Council chamber days later, despite the protests at the time from Russia to the contrary. He'll recount what we've seen from the Russian Federation over the course of the last year, the brutality, the abject, naked aggression against its neighbor, the fact that Russia has, in waging this aggression, shredded just about every principle that is at the heart of the UN Charter. He'll, on the other hand, speak to the remarkable resilience, determination, grit, effectiveness of the Ukrainian people, what we have seen from Ukraine over the past year, despite what might have seemed surmountable odds. And also speak to the resilience on the part of the international community that has withstood President Putin's consistent efforts to hold us hostage, to soaring food prices, to commodity prices, to rising energy prices, using every lever at his cruel disposal. And he'll also, I suspect, will speak to the imperative of supporting Ukraine and in support of a just and durable peace, a peace that's consistent with the principles of the UN Charter, and one that will equip Ukraine to, over the longer term, continue to be a sovereign country, a democratic country, an independent country, a country that is whole and prosperous with the means to defend itself going forward.